Welcome to the Gig Show. I'm your host, Jim Dorman, and this is my co-host, Dan Cody.
Hey, Jim.
Dan is, singer, songwriter, musician, all-around good guy. How are things going, Dan?
Good, very good. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I heard you've kicked off the music season a little bit early down in Mattoonic. Is this true?
Yes. Little warm-up gig for the summer series.
Yeah. What else is going on?
As always, working on some new music, and another song coming very soon. So excited for that. And you know me, always writing, recording, and seeing what I can put out there as long as I feel it's ready.
Yeah. Well, it's been some good stuff lately. I love your videos and TikTok things that are coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
anything you
videos.
want to ask me about, Dan?
What have you been up to, Jim?
Thank you for asking.
Didn't you sail the high seas recently?
Yeah, I just took my very first cruise on Virgin Voyages.
Wow.
Appropriately, I guess, out of Miami, Florida, down to Cozumel in Mexico and Bimini, part of the Bahamas. It's pretty nice. I don't want to get into all the details of that, but given what we like to talk about, music, things like that, I wasn't sure how some of the music was going to be on board. One thing they talked about was like an a cappella band, which, frankly, not my favorite type thing, and I managed to not even see them. But I was just kind of wondering what the music might be like on board, and I was just like really so pleasantly surprised by what I saw just in the casual areas, like in the lounge areas and the various little bars and things. The Sips Lounge, I remember it was. They had little names. You had to try to figure out where everything was, where you were going all the time. But they would schedule them, and you know kind of when they were going to play. But one of the first ones I saw was Danielle Moore, Mohr, and she was kind of doing what I thought kind of recognized as kind of a KT Tunstall type of setup, where she was singing, playing guitar, but also using a looper pedal or situation to use other like background vocals or tambourine,
little
percussion sounds like that. And she sang, well-known songs, her own songs, and was taking even, requests, which I managed to do. And she would just kind of, work it out. And it was kind of amazing to watch, and it was just a lot of fun. She even danced a little while she was doing that. But one of the cool things was like some of the other musicians that are in the other little groups around, they'd come and support, the other musician friends. And she had a good friend, Juan De La Vega, who was a guitar player that played in Kennedy in the Groove, which was kind of like a real classic kind of lounge act with like 4 or 5 pieces and a female singer. But he was just joining her on a little bit of electric guitar, a nice little Strat.
Nice.
Jumped up, and then the two of them were playing together, and I was like, wow, this is just
incredible.
For anybody who likes musicians and music like we do. I thought it was such a treat, But and then. Ended up talking to them a little bit, both, and they were like, hey, we're going to play it this time, get to come back, and, I'll play that song for you if you want, So it was so much fun. And then I got to see the full band, Kennedy in the Groove, and the Groove, they had the Groove Trio, which was the 3 of the guys. These guys were all from Argentina, and they were just phenomenal players. I mean, anything you can think of. I've seen them playing, like, heavy blues. That was what they were playing mostly. Yeah. Mostly it was more upbeat type, dance type, or music like maybe older stuff too, but they could all play. That's just about.
So the talent level was up there.
Yeah. All these, they could, you know when you watch them, like whether people know their instruments that well and how they work things out, and they would work, in the more casual settings, they were kind of working things out. Could go along and say, "Hey, let's play that song." Someone would say, like the Groove Trio. That was real cool because they could just put a little spin on some maybe well-known song or something like that. But anyway, it was just kind of phenomenal. So I wanted to give those guys a shout out. I think we got Danielle Moore Music, and I think you can find Kennedy with an I and the Groove.
Nice.
These Argentinian guys, probably in their 20s, early 30s, maybe. And that was I could have honestly just done that, but So it's kind of fun stuff. I mean, sometimes people think about lounge music as being maybe,
Yeah, it gets a bad name.
Yeah, you know,
bad
kind of
rep.
like always. No, but you know, as far as like maybe a path for someone as a musician, it's not. It doesn't look that bad to me. I don't know. There might be some negatives to it, but they were all very happy to be on the ship and to be booking like additional gigs. You know, you know, I'm on social media with them, and they have like gigs coming up on, you know, on the ship, or you know, with Virgin Voyages, or you know, who knows where else. I know I have some friends who were comedians, and that was like their career, just doing like cruise ship, you know, comedy.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
for, I mean, I don't know if you know if you ever heard of anybody, but you know, it's something you could do. And you obviously they're all this whole group of musicians, and they were all hanging out together afterwards and stuff. So I'm sure they learned a lot. You know, could learn a lot from each other and figure out things about what they're going to do going forward. Because I know that I've, you know, seen some of them. They're off the ship now, and they're doing their other. I'm seeing it on social media, like their home gigs, and where they like them to Florida and things like that. You know, and it's kind of cool to see. So anyway, I think you know, people looking to make a career out of their music. That's
a potential avenue.
Yeah, potential avenue, at least for a time, if you got the chops. Because I think I know all these guys had the chops.
Nice.
Well, hey, well, enough about my cruise and the good times. But we do have a show today, and we're really excited about our guest, a friend to the show, Bill Carter, who has previously been on on Author Talk here at Abington Cam for his alter ego, William F. Carter. He's also author. Wrote this book, Fire and Wrath, that we have here, but he's here for his musical pursuits, and appreciate that. So again, we're going to welcome our great friend to the show, Bill Carter. He's a singer-songwriter who's been active in the local music scene for over 30 years. Played guitar and sang with several bands over the years, including Disruptor and Thunderstud. Love those names. He's been with the cover band Faded Halo from 2006 to the present. His influences include Billy Joel, Phil Collins, Metallica. This is where it gets a little different. Social Distortion, Rush, and the Afghan Wigs, to name a few. His ongoing solo project, Doubter's Prison, and we'll talk a little bit about that name, gives him an outlet for his original songs.
Excellent.
Pretty interesting stuff, huh?
That's a good mix of influences.
Absolutely. That's why we love Bill Carter. We're going to bring Bill out to talk in just a few minutes, but first, he is going to perform one of his original songs right here in the studio. So, without further delay, here is Bill Carter on The Gig Show with Orphan.
Visions merging with the shadows, keep the memories buried deep. They surround me in the twilight, and they haunt me in my sleep. In my sleep. Feelings tangled in the mire, thousand hands that pull me down. Here I'll be trapped in the darkness, never wet for, never found, never found. But I have nowhere to run to, and I have nowhere to hide. But I'll stand so strong and fearless, though I'm still lost inside. is forgotten with the passing of the night. Like a vampire caught in the sunrise, I'll be turned to ashes by the light. By the light. And I have nowhere to run to, and I have nowhere to hide. I stand so strong and fearless. Oh, I'm still lost inside, still lost inside, still lost inside, still lost inside. Still lost inside.
Hey, welcome back, and welcome officially to our guest, Bill Carter. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
That was a great song.
Great job.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
good.
you.
Really, it's kind of like, kind of deep, dark. I was thinking of some points in my life where I would have, if I had heard that song, I can think of myself maybe sitting in the back of a corner of a dark room, maybe flicking a light off and on, kind of like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction after Michael Douglas rejects her. I had Jackson Browne though, so I did
he's good.
I
Yeah.
used Jackson Browne. Yeah, I'm Alive. If you haven't checked that out, produced by Don Wise, by the way.
Nice.
Anyway,
Oh, wow.
but I digress. Something new.
Yeah. No, that's my anthem for the brokenhearted, that
Yeah.
song. And like I said,
Okay.
I came out really well, and I'm very happy to be able to perform it. Yeah.
When did you start writing music? I guess let's go back to that.
I started writing songs when I was about 16, and I backed into it in a really strange way because I was writing short stories. Like I was big into writing, and I was fascinated with music because I was very much a nerd as a teenager, but I was big into music, and I thought, wow, man, it would be so cool to be a musician. And like guitar was always my first love. Oh, I'd love to play guitar. I could be cool for once in my life. And so of course, when I'm writing stories, I wrote a story about a band.
Yeah.
And so there were an original band, and original bands have songs. So I had to come up with song titles that I thought were cool. And that was it for a while. And then I was like, well, what if I put lyrics to those songs? And that's how I became a songwriter. And so I was working at Brigham's in Quincy, right by Star Market, when I was 16. And one of my coworkers was this guy named Mike DeBona. And he was a big musician. So he played drums, he had taught himself to play guitar, and he had a phenomenal voice, but he couldn't write songs. So we became friends, and sooner or later at some point I said, well, I have some song lyrics, but I couldn't, and I just started taking guitar lessons, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I thought, oh, well, I have lyrics if you want to put music to them, and we became best friends, and we started collaborating together. So he started putting music to my lyrics, and he started teaching me guitar. So I learned more from him than I did from taking lessons.
Yeah. Oh.
So, and that's how we started a band, and he and I are still working together now. And that was in 1988. Yeah, yeah. So, and then after a couple of years, it was around 92. I developed the ability to start writing music to my songs, and that was a huge leap forward for the band and for me. Right. So that's kind of how I got into it. The funny thing is that I was never meant to sing. Mike was just going to be the singer of the band. We got my friend Joe that we met in 1990. Yeah. He was our lead guitarist, and then we got a bass player. But Mike was always meant to be the main vocalist. But he, like I said, and this is late 80s, and I didn't have a printer. So I didn't have copies of the lyrics, even though I guess I could have written them down. But Mike was just like, well, why don't you sing some of these songs until I learn them, until I memorize them? Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I started singing the more like hard rock songs, because I obviously have a lower voice. and he was singing like the ballads. And then at some point it was like, oh, why don't you just keep singing them? And I was like, okay. So I was never meant to be a vocalist. I just kind of, well, like everything, I just sort of stumbled into it.
Kind of stumbled into it.
Yeah. So that's how it got started. And so we were the band Disruptor for a while. We started playing out around the South Shore, the Ranch House in Marshfield.
yeah.
Must have played that like a million times in the mid-late 80s. No, I'm sorry, mid-late 90s. And yeah, so we kept writing original songs. I think we had like almost 20 of them. Most of them I wrote. Mike and Joe wrote a couple of their own. And we were going strong, but then life kind of took over and we all got full-time jobs. And we knew we weren't going to be able to dedicate like our lives to it. We weren't going to put all our eggs in a basket. Like, let's go try to be a break-in and be a band. And it was like, I didn't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
You know, so we more focused on our careers and building a life for each other, for ourselves. And so the band kind of became more of a hobby after that. And then in 2006, we decided to do covers because that's what people want to hear, and that's where you make money.
That's right.
So.
When you played the Ranch House in those places, were you playing covers or were you playing original or both?
We were playing our originals back then.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 90s it was all originals. We
Okay.
didn't start the covers till later, and by then the Ranch House, I think, was condemned. Or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Or
when I saw.
burned down.
I kind of missed the Ranch House for the most part. I think I saw Draw the Line there at
Yes,
one point.
I think we opened for them once.
They were regulars
Yes.
at the Ranch House.
Yeah, pretty much their banner was just up there like permanently.
They're still around.
Yep, they're still around. Yeah.
Dan, you do the Ranch House at all?
Oh, yeah. Many times.
Many times. I think you guys have walked some similar
We might have crossed
Yeah,
paths.
we've-
paths.
I think we've been in the
And if
same-
my sources are correct, even more recently,
really?
I think you both have done gigs at the Article 15. Is that what was that what it's called? The like a brew pub type place. Or am I thinking the wrong place?
Well, we did the banner in Rockland, but we haven't done much else. 10th District.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of that.
That's-
Maybe I'm
yeah, we were playing
confusing
that for
my
a while.
numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Yeah,
You did the Article 15,
Yes.
which I joined him on.
Oh yeah,
Correct.
I don't know that place. Where's that?
Well, it's no longer.
No
but
longer.
It was kind of cool little. I think it was a brew pub thing right behind the Stop and Shop / Walmart in Weymouth.
Oh, okay.
And then they had a space over Rockland, but I think it was last year they closed. But
Yeah.
we
It's a good little spot.
Yeah.
so
right
the 10th District, is that the restaurant?
It's a brewery.
Oh, it's
so
a brewery.
it's in Abington. It's right near the Walmart on 123.
Oh,
Is
that-
it? Yeah.
We'll go through all the Walmarts. Anywhere, and the Franklin Walmart, have you played there? But the Banner Pub you mentioned, which is, I got to say that, it's been kind of cool because earlier, well, not earlier this year, but last year we had your alter ego on the show for Author Talk for your alter ego, William F. Carter.
Yeah.
Author of Fire and Wrath. I don't
Yep.
know if we can get a shot, but Bill is also an author and an actor. He's got a play coming up with the Duxbury Bay Players starting May 9th.
Yes.
Called
The Minutes.
The Minutes.
Yeah.
As Mr. Peel.
Mr. Peel. Yes.
So like 2 weekends or?
Yeah, 2 weekends. I think
weekends.
it's 5 performances because one of the Sundays is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really cool show. It was on Broadway a few years back. I think it was nominated, or at least nominated, if not won, several awards. It's a really sharp, satirical look at small town politics and stuff, and it has a unbelievable ending. Like I can't spoil the ending. Like, but it's an interesting show. It's going to be a roller coaster.
It's just we're kind of running around, going around because I did want to make a point. No, it's okay.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm thinking like, what was the point I was going to? But was that when we had you on? For the book, you told me about the open mic at
yes, at the Banner.
the Banner.
Yes.
And so I went last summer, and that's hosted by
John
Titone.
Yeah.
Titone.
Titone.
I always look. I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly.
I don't know. He's never said it, so I think
John
it's
Titone sounds good. Okay, I like it. Titone.
Yeah,
which was great because it was a great setup for playing, and I was able to come right away. But I usually work nights during the year, so I was able to do it in August and like I think around that time.
Yeah.
And we actually played like,
Yep.
I mean, you got up with me like twice, I think.
Yep.
So we probably did 5 or 6 songs.
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
remember, which was great that you could do that, and just kind of like, and everybody wanted to do that. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was so great collaborating with the other, like, so yeah, we had a drummer, we had a bass player, we had guitar players, like we pretty much had a whole like impromptu band. It was so much fun. So I'm glad we got to do that together.
Yeah, and me too, because it was one of the best moments, because, you know, I've been doing this a little bit, for years, but not that much, and trying to gain a little more confidence here and then. So to be able to get up, and then you joined me, and then also this is great memories. That I was doing John Prine's The Speed of the Sound of Loneliness. Yeah. And that you joined me on. It was only 3 chords, which was great.
Yeah.
We didn't just keep repeating.
Yep.
And there were 2 guys that played harmonica.
That's right.
Doing harmonica.
And like, so can we join, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's like three verses and 3 chords, 3 choruses and you're out, right?
Yeah. But
they were, so they just wanted to keep playing, and they were trading off the
harmonica solos. Yeah.
Yeah, harmonica solos, and it just kept going on. And John was it John or Joe? What?
John.
John. So, excuse me, John. Was like filming it and everything. Oh, this is great.
Oh, it came out really good.
And I started making up lyrics for like another verse. I started making up just things about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if there's any video of it, but
maybe.
What the heck? It just kept going with just really, So it was just so much fun. But unfortunately, well, I couldn't go anywhere, but it ended. But anyway, so it was kind of a cool thing just from that came from our connection.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome.
Here to talk about your great book, Fire and Wrath. William F. Carr.
Yeah.
Go out and get a copy.
Yep. Available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles.
Go see the play.
Come see the minutes. What's the story about?
The story is about a professional arsonist who has come to a crossroads in his life. He's in his early 40s, and he knows that if he continues on this path, he's either going to be in prison or an early grave. And so he's starting to rethink his whole life. And then he happens to coerced into helping an old friend try to solve a string of unsolved arsons here in Plymouth County. So he's very much like kind of forced into cooperating, but then he starts to participate of his own free will when he gets a more personal connection to what's going on. So he gets to be a good guy for once, and he finds out he likes that. And so it's a very cool story with a lot of a huge backstory to it, and several redemptive arcs throughout and stuff. So it's a look at grief, it's a look at trauma, and it's a look at guilt and regret, people looking back at their lives and trying to atone for their mistakes, which is very much a personal thing. Like I have a good memory, so I remember all the stupid things I've ever said and done. And so I think a lot of the core of my nature is every day I want to be a better person. I want to try to make up for any of the bad things I've done. So take that and put it on steroids.
It says great characters, great surprises.
Yep, some nice twists
and turns, and a nice kind of cool look at what it's like to be like a high school age type.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that whole part of it.
Yeah. That whole backstory.
Yeah, the whole backstory as in it. So it was very well done. You can tell the work that went in to forming it. So anyway, highly recommend. But the point that I want to make, the next question is, wait, what's one more thing? If you might know, Bill, if you've been to the Company Theater to see A Christmas Carol, because he's known as playing the role of Bob Cratchit.
Yes.
How many times have you done it?
I've done 4 productions of that. Wow. So from 2016, and so we did 2016, 2019, 2021, and then this past Christmas. So
which people love that. It always sells out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were thinking trying to get the cast on, but I said they don't need any help. It's going to sell out.
No, it's that one happened to sell out like very early. Like we were still in rehearsals, and like the entire run is sold out. Wow. It's such a staple of the South Shore. It's a tradition, and people keep coming. And so there's a huge responsibility on us as the cast, especially the veteran actors. Now that I've done it a few times, it's just like they're coming to see something that that's very special and important to them, and it's up to us to deliver on that. Like whether either as a musician, as an actor, or a writer, like I said, I believe we make a pact with our audience, whether it's the reader or a viewer, and it's like you're giving us your most important thing. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Your time is the most important thing,
Right.
And so we want to deliver on that. We want to give you something that's worth your time.
Yes. Yeah.
Commodity. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, it wasn't my help.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so especially with something like Christmas Carol, I think there's a lot of pressure to deliver on that and give them what they're expecting. Right. So I'm very proud and very humbled to be a part of that production. So I'm glad I've been able to do it several times.
And he's always wanting the whole day off on Christmas Day.
You know, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The whole day?
If you don't mind, sir.
Well, it's a terrible way to pick a man's pocket every December 25th.
It's only once a year, sir.
You'll be in all the more earlier the next day. And you never are. You're always late.
No, I'm late. I'm late because I was drinking and eating a giant turkey. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's always a good stuff. It never gets old, all the different versions. You know, I mean, you
Yeah.
guys do a great version, but everybody loves all the... Anyway, I can't go. You mean the biggest turkey in the in the window?
The one as big as me.
One as big as...
Yeah.
You know, anyway, I'm
Do
sorry.
you have a favorite in terms of you got short story, songwriting, full novel,
Yeah.
and then in plays? Do you have a favorite of the four mediums, or how do you?
I don't, like, whenever I'm doing a particular thing, it's like, oh yeah, this is good. Because it's just like, I feel like a jack of all trades, and it's like, should I just stop doing these other things and just focus on one? But I don't know. I think the acting has the biggest reward, like especially certainly like immediate gratification from the audience, and the same with the bands. But the writing is a very solitary, very labor-intensive process. But I mean, that's what I was been doing that since I was like 12. That's like my first love. So it's tough. They're all good, and I don't know. I don't know where I come up with this stuff. I don't know how I do it, but I'm just very grateful to be able to share something with the world.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's fun to. It's fun to, you know.
To create.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to create. A lot of musicians will be also painters.
Yeah.
They love both, but like I said, when they're painting, they're focused on painting. When they're writing a song, they're focused on that. So.
Right, but a lot of us always also have real jobs.
There is that.
And then how do you have time to be creative at all? Never mind have it like, you know, be a writer and a singer-songwriter and an actor. So how do you manage your time?
Very carefully.
And a dad.
And a dad.
Right?
To two young girls.
Two young girls.
Who are my son and my
husband.
stars. Yeah, and a husband. Yeah, no, my girls are the greatest creation I will ever share with the world, and I love them to death, and they're amazing. And I don't know. And luckily I work from home, but I have a very intense job. I'm going like 60 miles an hour from start of the day to the end of the day every day. But I typically get to my desk and I work from home, which is awesome. And I tend to write for a half hour before I get on the clock in the morning. That seems to be the best, and during my lunch hour. The music just comes whenever I can, and whenever I find time, or if an inspiration strikes me to do something. I don't write as many songs now as I used to. So, but when they do come along, I just greatly appreciate them. Like maybe I might write like maybe one or two a year, maybe. I used to write them like one a week, you know. But I don't know where I find the time. But I'm
totally confounded because it's just like, you just to write a book would be like to me that would be like all the time, extra time. Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm sure your kids will want your attention.
They do. Yeah. So it's just, I honestly don't know how I do it. Yeah. And actually get some sleep.
Right. When's the downtime?
Yeah.
But no kicking the feet up and just.
No relaxing. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, I'm not as young as I used to be, and I just want to literally just, you know, carpe diem. I just want to seize every day and make the most of it as long as I'm here and stuff, and just really just, you know, soak in everything and do everything I can, you know. So.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Cool. It's amazing. I think, you know, both of us try to do well. Dan does a lot of stuff too. You know, Dan's always doing his music on the side. He's always got something going.
You're an active musician?
Yeah. You know, writing, recording, and playing. So nice. It's a same thing. You just kind of find pockets of time and do what you can do and
That's great.
see what happens and move on to the next project. And
Well, we'll like social media connect, so I can come check you out when you
Absolutely.
play.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a lot in common with different things you've done. Plays. Do you ever play Shroudies?
I did.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When it was Shroudies, when it was 12 Bends, and then it was Basta.
Basta, yeah.
When we started doing the covers, we were at Basta all the time, like 2006 to 2008.
Right.
We were there like at least maybe once every month or two. And we had some very memorable gigs there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun place to play. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're in the same circles.
I think
All right,
so.
yeah.
I think
Same
you
time
guys, maybe, might have been there different nights or something,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but definitely, and you're in the same age group too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's fun.
Was it going back to the music development stuff? Like you have kind of some unique inspirational inspirations that might be a little different than some of ours. Which anyway, was it the punk kind of new wavy type stuff? Was that always there with other people with you?
No, that was so my first love. Phil Collins' Genesis was the first band I remember really like latching onto. Like, oh, this resonated with me.
Right.
And then Billy Joel came shortly after. And so then those were my two big loves. And then my brother, who was much more of a metalhead from our teenage years, he started with Zeppelin, and then by 87, 88, he was coming home with a new cassette tape like every week. So he was listening to everything like Metallica, Slayer, all kinds of heavy metal stuff. But it was Metallica that once again I kind of gravitated toward because I loved the lyrics and I loved the music. There's so much work and quality in their stuff. Like very melodic, like great riffs, phenomenal lyrics. I will say James Hetfield is a huge influence with me as far as lyrically and singing, because I think I'm in the same range as him. And then my brother introduced me to Social Distortion, I believe it was in 1990, when their self-titled album came out. And I just went nuts over them. So that's kind of really my big punk thing. I don't follow a lot of other bands like that. They were the ones, and they kind of punk and rockabilly. They're very strange. They're so much different than everything else I listen to. But then their songs were easy to play because he just like 3-chord songs and stuff. And he's also in my range. So we did a lot of Social Distortion songs early on because I could actually sing those. Yeah, and his lyrics too, because I was like, well, what would I have in common with a former heroin junkie from L.A. Or Orange County? And then I started listening to more and more of their stuff. I'm like, oh, this is me. Like he's writing to me. Like all this stuff I could identify with and relate to so well. I'm like, I'd love to meet him one day.
He was born in Massachusetts. So.
Was he?
Lynn.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah, I would love to meet him and sit down. I think we would have just a phenomenal conversation.
What's his name?
Mike Ness.
Mike Ness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's the reason I love Gibsons, because he's been a Gibson Les Paul guy.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, love the Les Paul.
Yep.
See, Allman Brothers. That's a little quite different, but they love the Les Paul.
And then two of my good friends, and one of the guys who's in my band, introduced me to Rush in 1991, and that just sent me down a whole nother avenue with that, because once again, Neil Peart with the lyrics and just their musicianship, like I just fell in love with it. And so visual and vivid, their stuff, like very sci-fi fantasy influence, their earlier stuff, and just absolutely love them. So it's very much a hodgepodge of influences, and I couldn't say but I feel like my songs, I don't think they necessarily really sound like, you can't say, oh, well, he's ripping off Zeppelin or he sounds like Metallica. I think I kind of have my own little sound in some small way, and I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. I'm glad you said that, because it kind of drifted out of my head. Was I was going to say your chord progression to me like comes from that. I can see it, on Orphan.
Yeah.
And some of the other things I've listened to, I feel like I can hear that kind of influence to me. Just the quicker changes maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is, and it's kind of cool. But I can kind of see you doing that maybe on a harder song. Type of thing. So I don't know if that's true, but I felt like
Yeah, I like. I mean, like I can't read music. Like I said, I took lessons for like a couple months before I quit. So I
did the same thing.
Oh, yeah. So I'm very much just by ear and just by raw stubbornness, just like. But yeah, I don't write complicated songs, but I like songs with a nice hook to them, with a nice groove, and so yeah, I'm just looking for something that's gonna be moving or they'll resonate in some way. Yeah.
Awesome.
What comes first for you most of the time, lyrics or music?
It used to be lyrics, and now it's music.
Okay.
Yeah. And then because I think trying to find there's so many like ingredients that go into a good song, and to be able to play a song, like you have to be able to write, you have to be able to sing, you have to be able to play, and there's so much going into that. And to me, it's all about, well, can I write a song that doesn't sound like something else at this point?
Right.
You know, so I think it's kind of tougher now to come up with like an original progression or something that just doesn't sound like a million other things you've heard. So if I can find a nice riff or chord progression, that's what I got to start with, and then I'll fit the music. Fit the lyrics to that.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
It varies. I have to wait it to the music tends to come first, and then I'll see what I can put on top of that music. You know, melody-wise, lyric-wise. Once in a while, I'll have some lyrics written and just, all right, what can I put to these words? See if I can come up with anything. The other day, I was recently working on a song, and it wasn't bad, but I couldn't really remember it. I had done a little recording of it, and I'm like, well, if I can't really remember what I was doing, that's probably not good. So I had my notebook open, some lyrics, and I said, you know what? I got this other chord progression. Let me mash those two together, and these two click.
Nice. Yes.
So, you know, sometimes things like that happen. Sometimes
happy accidents or whatever. Yeah. I can certainly relate. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Once in a while, like sometimes maybe lyrics will just pop in my head and be like, oh, that's good. Like, like Orphan, pretty much wrote itself. And that was a very quick process, and the lyrics just all of a sudden just started just spilling in, whatever, coming out of my brain, and like, oh, okay, and before I knew it, it's like, oh, I have a song, and but the music was kind of coming because I knew the melody, and I was trying to come up with something to, like I said, to match that, and have a nice like counterpoint to it. So yeah, it's a messy, very fascinating process. Yeah.
And how do you know with a book when it's done? Do you know?
Usually, yes, because I've actually written several novels, and this is actually the third in a series. But the other two novels just weren't ready for publication. Like I was still crafting my skills, sharpening my talent, whatever talent I have. And but this one really had a nice offbeat storyline. And I was just taking everything I had learned, because I got my bachelor's and master's at Harvard's extension school over the years, and I majored in creative writing. So I worked with a lot of great teachers, a lot of professional writers who are moonlighting as professors and stuff, and I learned so much over the years. And so this was sort of the culmination of all that knowledge and all that practice and skill. And so yeah, this one had a very nice arc to it. So I was like, I had it. I think I had it pretty clear in mind where that needed to go. But I'm writing the sequel now, and I'm a third of the way through it.
Wow. And
I'm just kind of feeling my way as it goes. But I know what the finale is going to be. At least I think so. But I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to get there. Like I know vaguely what needs to happen, but I'm not playing this one out as much. I'm kind of going more instinctively. So we'll see with that one.
Nice. Well, that's an incredible accomplishment.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was a long time coming. My agent and I worked on this. We worked on that for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and at least 24, 25 rounds of revisions, where I had to pretty much write the whole thing, and then rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. So
amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. But it's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an off the beaten track question.
Yeah.
You mentioned Harvard. You work at Harvard.
I do work at Harvard. Yeah, been 25 years. I've been working at Harvard.
25 years. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes, I obviously started when I was 2.
That's right.
But yeah, I love working there. It's a phenomenal place to work. Great benefits. I started working there in '99, and I will say it's just opened up because I was just born and bred on the South Shore.
Well, that's not 25 years, is it? Oh, it is. Damn.
Yeah, it was last year.
Darn,
Yeah.
Next that up.
Jim majored in math.
Yes. Nice. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it was born and bred on the South Shore, and but going to work in Cambridge and just getting to know a much more diverse population there, with students and staff and faculty and stuff. So it really opened my eyes to a larger world, and so I feel like Harvard's done so much for me in so many different ways, and getting my education there and stuff. So I'm very grateful to them, and I'm so glad I had the chance to work there. Yeah.
Well, what I want to know is, how close have you gotten to the Gutenberg Bible?
Nowhere near.
Nowhere near? Have you tried?
No. Well, I've been in Widener Library, like the big one, but that's like, I think they keep that in storage or something. Like you can't just.
They don't have it like
displayed.
No.
Yeah, not that I ever saw it. It's been a while. I think it's in storage somewhere secure, and then like with a number of things they have, and then they may bring it out for like special occasions or something. But yeah, no, they will not let us.
I tried to get in, they wouldn't let me.
Really? Oh, I don't know. No, I think
I was like,
yeah.
You guys have the Bible back?
Yeah, you have to like swipe in with an ID. You have to.
Yeah, I didn't even get that far.
Yeah.
I was in the lobby somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't been in there in a while.
After I rubbed John Harvard's foot.
Yep.
You got it.
And then wash your hands afterward.
It's probably smart, right?
Yes.
I did kiss the Blarney Stone last year.
There you go.
I did too. Yes, I was there in 2001.
Oh,
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So people say bad things about that too.
They do too. Yes, they absolutely do.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah. You have to hang upside down to get right?
It's
if I remember right.
It's it's not easy it wasn't easy for me anyway. They had to have two people. And there's a lot anyway. But
yeah,
there's a lot of cool things. I suggest anyway. Just as a tourist, it's kind of cool to go into Harvard Yard. And,
Yes. No, so much history and so many great things to see. Yeah, I love. But I don't go in the office anymore. But I did for many, many years, and I would love walking around like the yard and other parts. It's just a wonderful place to be.
It's really, back to what we're all about here on the Gig Show and stuff, is one of the first, my greatest, I get a warm fuzzy feeling when I think about it, but my brother, who was 5 years older than me, he liked to go to Harvard Square when he was like in his later teens, and I was in my more middle, pretty young, but he took me with him on Friday nights or something, and they remember me like some crazy rain nights, and everywhere around, I don't know if it's still as prominent, probably not, but there were like a lot of people just busking, just playing in doorways or whatever, and playing, and I actually, whenever I play Ripple by the Grateful Dead, I think like, I remember watching somebody play Ripple, and I'm like, wow, can I ever play that, Yeah, no,
COVID really killed a lot of the nightlife there, or the culture. And like I said, a lot of places went out of business. Like when I do go in, I have to go in like every few months, and I almost don't recognize the square anymore. It's changed so much just in the last.
A lot of people
5
probably
years.
didn't know it better than I. Probably just like, oh, it's not what it was. But, but Passim is
it's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Oh
right?
yeah. And I've seen a fair amount of shows, but I remember even then we didn't have tickets. You could see down into it, like you'd see someone playing. I was like, oh my god, that's somebody.
You can hear them. Yeah.
And now you just hear about people, whether it's even like just seeing the recent Dylan movie.
Oh yeah.
Complete Unknown.
A Complete Unknown. And they're just. they really don't feature that, but people. Joan Baez. They played the Club 47, which I think is a precursor to Passim.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just kind of like brimming with.
Well, the history is incredible.
Of all that.
So,
and circling back to the mention of Rush.
Yes.
Have you seen Rush in concert?
I saw them many times. Yes.
Really? And Dan?
Yep. I saw them once. I would have liked to have seen them more, but I got to see them once, which I'm grateful. Got to see them.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen them probably like at least 6 or 7 times. And I did get to see them in 2015, their final tour. Yeah. So no, they're amazing. Yeah, they're such a huge influence. And one of their songs from the '91 album Roll the Bones, their song Bravado, is my favorite song of all time. Oh, wow. And it's been my favorite song since '91, and nothing has ever come close. Like that song, So yeah, my favorite song of all time is a Rush song. So,
yeah, it's kind of interesting band. They have some kind of Quincy tie too. I forget.
Do they?
Somebody. Yeah, there's someone in Quincy that really helped them, like a publisher or something. And that's terrible. I don't know that.
Oh, wow.
But I know it would come up a lot because it's a woman and she had all this, information that and they she'd always go to see them if they came to town. I saw her in like mid '90s at the Worcester
Yeah, Worcester.
Centrum.
Yeah.
And it was kind of. No offense, it was too much for me. Okay, but I was like, I loved all the real radio-friendly songs,
Right.
And by the end, though, it was getting kind of like heavy or something. I was like,
Yeah, they get into their older stuff. Usually they're doing like 21.
yeah, and it just kept going. And I'm like, and I don't mind long concerts and stuff, but I was like, oh no.
Yeah, they love playing long shows. Yeah.
It was just, but Neil Peart was, I still gotta say, I think probably one of the greatest rock drummers.
Oh yeah. A friend of mine.
Funny you mentioned Roll the Bones. That's the tour I saw them on.
Oh, is it? Yeah, that's the first tour I saw.
Yeah.
So,
And Vinnie Moore was
Vinnie
the
Moore
opener.
opened.
Yeah.
That was the longest 45 minutes of my life. What was I going to say? A friend of mine said, the greatest thing I could ever think of about Neil Peart. He said, I've known drum machines that have made more mistakes than Neil Peart. And I was like, yeah, he was just such a great drummer.
Really good.
Yeah, and such a great writer, too. Yeah.
I got to meet a drummer for it was the Gin Blossoms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he wasn't the original drummer, but they were playing at Plymouth Memorial Hall, and it
Oh,
was kind
nice.
of cool. I got to go to like an after party with the Gin
Oh, really?
Blossoms
Oh,
or
that's cool.
something, and they were really good. And I told the guy he reminded me of Neil Peart the way he was playing,
Oh.
and he thought that was a great compliment.
That is it.
I think it would be. But
Yeah.
even though I'm not as maybe a big a fan as you guys, but I do love a lot of their stuff. I just don't, it's kind of like the whole catalog isn't my thing. But I mean, I certainly respect it. It's just not,
Yeah.
But the whole thing, Geddy Lee. I mean, you got to love it, right?
Yeah. And Alex Lifeson, I mean, he's
Yeah.
I don't have a fraction of the talent he has and the skill, but he's a big influence too, and I love watching him play and stuff. So, yeah.
So again, I know any like plans to get a band again, or I know you guys are kind of
Yeah, I mean, so we're in Faded Halo. We're still
Faded Halo.
active. Yeah.
Right.
We the last gig we played was in November. It just we're not playing as many gigs as we used to, just because the venues have dried up, and like a few of us have been reaching out to different places, but like I reached out to the Next Page in Weymouth, and they're like, yeah, we're already booked up through pretty much through the end of the year. Like they're all booking early and they're booking quickly, and we're just apparently not jumping on it quickly enough. And two of the guys in my band are in another band that's doing very well. I think one of the guys in their band pretty much knows everybody, and he has been getting them into they play Memorial Hall in Plymouth. So I was like, I couldn't even dream about playing there.
We've played the Next Page.
Yeah, it's a good venue, right?
Yeah, great.
With the great Nick
Yeah.
Johnson. Fun.
Faded Halo's all covers.
Yeah, we sneak in an original
Yeah.
maybe here and there, but it's pretty much all covers. And everything from Zeppelin to Metallica to Gin Blossoms to the Monkees. Like it's a really chaotic, but seems to.
What I've heard sounds good. It's good.
Yeah, thank you.
So definitely.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
The recorded stuff and seen some of the videos. So
Yeah. So we have fun. And I've been sick since like Halloween, so I'm just starting to recover. We do have gigs, at least one gig in the summer set up, and we're looking at other ones. So I'd love to get that going again. And I'm still doing my solo stuff. So doing the open mics.
Yeah.
And I've heard about other venues to do solo stuff, and I'd like to just explore that, and maybe on the side, and just play some solo gigs
You'll
or
have to
something.
keep us posted, especially on the solo stuff. We'll put it on our little Facebook page. If you're not following our Facebook page, follow us on Facebook, The Gig Show. And your solo project is called Doubter's Prison.
Doubter's Prison, yeah.
Doubter's Prison. Now, I have done some speculation on the origin of or the meaning
Can you guess?
of
Yeah.
doubt. Well, I've cheated by looking up things, so I don't know if I heard something called like Doubter's Castle or something in Pilgrim's Process by John Bunyan, which
John
is
Bunyan.
kind of a
Pilgrim's Progress.
Progress.
I had to read that for one of my graduate
Process.
classes. It's a terrible book.
I've never read it. I know it's significant. And maybe I should.
It is, and I had to read it, and I was like, all right, I should be appreciating this, but it's a terrible book.
So it's not that.
No, it's actually just a riff on Debtor's Prison.
That was my
All right.
first thought.
All right, yeah.
Debtor's Prison. Okay.
And
So
Always
I
go
didn't
with your first guess.
I should have went. I should have went with it. But debtor's prison. I'm saying like what? And I said, wait a second. Do I even know what that is? So if you get in debt, they stick you in prison.
Yep, that's what they used to do. Yeah, gentlemen like gambling or whatever, they have to go to prison.
They're bringing that back. I heard. But
I wouldn't
anyway,
be surprised.
let's not get
let's
political.
go. But yeah, and actually, it was my first wife came up with that. I can't even take credit for it because I was looking for something. Because like I said, if you hear my stuff, like it tends to be kind of moody and dark. Right. So I wanted something compelling, like a name for that. And she came up with Doubter's Prison, and I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so that stuck.
Yeah, that's
okay.
stuck. Yeah.
All right. Cool. I like that. You see something and it makes you scratch your chin a little bit. Like, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I will say, between my writing and my music, there are a lot of like classical influences with that, that draw upon older stuff. But just in this one instance, I did not. But yeah, I just like, oh, that's kind of a play on words. We'll go with that.
Yeah. So if you're going to be appearing somewhere, and I know you don't do a lot of solo gigs, but would you say Bill Carter, or would you say Doubter's Prison is coming to?
That's a good question. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Could do Bill Carter Presents.
Bill Carter Presents Doubter's
Doubter's
Prison.
Prison.
Oh, I like that.
I could do. That's a great. I
know.
I honestly hadn't even thought about that. That is a good question. So yes, I will go with that.
And if you'd like to meet William F. Carter after the show, you could,
Yes,
do that.
He's selling books. He's
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're hawking stuff.
He's
here.
hawking.
This is great. We're doing.
Yeah.
Hey, unfortunately, our time here is if we had a little, one of the hourglass, it might be running out on us. So
Okay, that went by quickly.
It went by quickly. A lot of fun.
Thank you,
We had
John.
some time.
Well, kind of the Stein has run.
Oh, the Stein.
Yeah.
It was full at the
as
beginning.
Harry Carey would say, we had some laughs, had some moments here, made some new friends. But we also we have one more song.
Yep.
We want to close the show. What's the song you're going to do to close the show? Bill Carter?
It's called "Exit the Fool."
Right.
And it has an interesting. So I wrote those lyrics in 1993.
Okay.
I was working at Sears, and I used to write stories and songs like on the back of void slips, just at the register. And these lyrics I came up with, and I thought they were really cool. It was very, like I said, very visual, very had a lot of imagery to them. And then it sat there for years, and then I put music to it in 2001. That was a very fast-paced song, and I wasn't never quite happy with that. And then, just like 2 years ago, I had this other progression. It was a bit slower, more melodic, and I came up with the music, and I was like, well, what can fit this? And I was like, oh, those lyrics fit it. So like what you did.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, and that clicked.
Isn't that funny?
And so this song, I love this song. It's one of the best things I've done in years. So I'm happy to be able to share that. Yeah. So it's an old song, but a new one.
Yeah. Good.
So
Oldie
yeah, I
but
hope
goodie.
you guys like it.
Yeah.
And one more time, where can people get your book?
Firemouth, you can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble's websites, but it's also, if you go to the Barnes & Noble in Hingham at Derby Street, they do have copies there. I've done a couple of book signings there and events there.
Very good.
So I believe they still have some in stock. But yes, it's a fun story. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, very good.
And go out to Duxbury Bay Players and get your tickets.
See the minutes.
See the minutes.
In May. It's going to be a great show.
In May.
Yeah. Phenomenal
Starting
cast.
May 9th. So
May 9th, yep.
Thanks once again for coming on
Thanks for
the
having me.
Gig
You're
Show.
welcome. Yeah.
So good. And thank you for everyone for tuning in to the Gig Show. Thanks to Kevin Tachi and the crew for doing such a great job with us behind the scenes. We'll see you next time. So until we meet again, but for right now, here is Bill Carter with Exit the Fool.
Tall and proud, gleaming starlight in your eyes. You left me breathless, a victim of my own device. Now I venture where angels fear to tread. I should have known that only heartbreak lay ahead. Like a dream you slipped away. Somehow knew you'd never stay. Now you let me orphan from the light. Never escape this endless night. Never again. Darkness falls, finds me hopeless and alone, as my aching heart slowly turns to stone. Your face will haunt me, as in vain I try to sleep. I should have known that it was never mine to keep. Like a fading dream you slipped away. Somehow knew you'd never stay. Now you let me orphan from the light. Never escape this endless night. Though I tried to outrun the past, somehow knew this couldn't last. Now you left me bleeding on the floor. Never to see you anymore. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. Like a fading dream you slipped away. Somehow knew you'd never stay. Now you let me orphan from the light. Never escape this endless night. Though I tried to outrun the past, somehow knew this couldn't last. Now you left me bleeding on the floor. Never see you anymore. Never again. Never see you anymore. Never again.